What's happening, news nerds? Back for some more news, are we, you cheeky little devils? This week in news starts now. I think you're probably guilty, bud. According to KFOR, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol says that they arrested a man in Pawnee County earlier this week for allegedly stealing a truck so that he could drive to his court appointment for a stolen vehicle possession charge. Apparently, Cody Adams was asking people for a ride to his court appointment in Pawnee County at a Stillwater petrol station. But Oklahoma Highway Patrol says that when he couldn't find anyone to give him a lift, he borrowed a LifeNet ambulance supervisor pickup truck that someone had left running. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol then caught Cody at the courthouse and arrested him when he admitted to the theft. He was then taken to his court appointment for possession of a stolen vehicle, then back to Pawnee County according to the article, which I'm assuming means jail. Surely he could have skipped the whole thing and waited for the police to come to his house and arrest him when he didn't turn up. Or just rang him up and said, no one's going to give me a lift. Now he's got 2 counts of stealing to his name. I bet he gets the dunt stool when he gets to prison. Can you put a price on family? Can you put a price on family? Can you put a price on family? According to The Independent, a young Arkansas couple are accused of trying to sell their baby for a 6-pack of beer and $1,000 at a campground. Darian Tyler Urban, who's 21, and Charlene Ellers, 20, have been charged with endangering the welfare of a minor in the first degree and attempting to accept compensation for relinquishment of a minor. This is according to Benton County Sheriff's Office court records obtained by Law and Crime. On the 21st of September, the police responded to a 911 call after the owner of the campground caught wind of the alleged transaction. Police then found the 2-month-old baby, alerted emergency services, then transferred the nipper to a hospital for a right good look over. The kid's parents were nowhere to be found. Police eventually found a contract signed by both the ship parents and the would-be buyer. The contract read as follows: I, Darian Urban and Charlene Ellers, are signing over our rights to Cody Nathaniel Martin, our baby boy, for $1,000 on the 21st of the 9th, 2024. There was even a cheeky little disclaimer at the bottom of the contract. That read, after signing this, there'll be no change in y'all 2 minds and to never contact again. TLDR, it's yours, no backsies. Apparently this all started when a visibly drunk man who was worried for the safety of the kid offered some cans of beer as a swap for the child, which unbelievably the parents accepted. The drunk man then went to his mate, who eventually signed the purchase contract. His mate offered another $1,000 for the baby to the couple and planned to bring them a check in the next couple of days. The police weren't happy about this, obviously, saying in a statement, it is believed that both Urban and Ella created a substantial risk of death or serious physical injury by abandoning their minor child, initially with an obviously intoxicated male, and ultimately with someone they did not know. The couple have now been taken into custody and held on a $50,000 bail, although apparently the father has now been released. The article didn't say out further about the kid. Maybe it's out roaming the woods and will become the next Tarzan. I don't agree with the methods, to be fair, but if you were in the market to buy a baby, $1,000 is practically free. You're looking at £500 minimum in flights to Ethiopia, and that's before you bribe officials. DM Angelina Jolie if you don't believe me. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. According to the AFP and Yahoo, a lawsuit alleges US cops who raided a medical diagnostics centre, thinking that it was a cannabis farm, got a gun stuck to the powerful magnets of an MRI machine. The owners of the facility are claiming damages against the Los Angeles police, with their lawyers calling it nothing short of a disorganised circus. Apparently, Officer Kenneth Franco, using his 12 hours of narcotics training, convinced the magistrate to issue him a search warrant because this building in particular drew more power in comparison than the surrounding flower, kids and chocolate shops. He must have then concluded that this obvious medical facility was a drug farm, or a drug mill, or a drug haberdashery. After bursting in, the SWAT team unsurprisingly found officers, a single employee, and a load of medical devices, including an MRI machine. Then, after disregarding warnings about various things being pulled towards said MRI machine, one officer came close to it with his weapon. The MRI machine then dragged it, magnetically pinning it to the face of the machine, of which no force the officers could muster had any shot at. Then, instead of speaking to an expert about retrieving his weapon, the cop bopped the emergency shutdown button, which immediately released 2,000 litres of supercool liquid helium and essentially destroyed the machine. The cop then retrieved his gun, but left a magazine of bullets on the floor. Unsurprisingly, the medical place seeks unspecified damages. But if you do a bit of Googling and Google an MRI machine cost, it's about $250,000 to $500,000. To be fair though, an MRI machine does use a fair bit of power, but perhaps that information was on the advanced 16-hour course. Doesn't fill you with confidence though when that level of training is implemented by government services. I've done a first aid course, but does that qualify me to finger people's ring pieces in a doctor's surgery? I think I'll probably stick to Portobello mushrooms. According to Side Post, after consuming a large quantity of magic mushrooms, a 37-year-old man suffering from depression and alcohol abuse severed his penis with an axe. Pretty soon after ingesting the mushrooms, the man started suffering from hallucinations. These led him to take an axe, like the ones for log chopping, to his penis, severing it multiple times, although he didn't fully remember what had occurred. The man then tied a piece of cloth around the genital area to control the bleeding, placing several parts of his severed penis in a jar filled with snow and then left the house, bleeding a lot in search of help. He was then found by a passerby in a confused state, who then phoned the ambulance. By the time he arrived in hospital, it was 5 hours after the initial amputation. He was then immediately taken into surgery, and although some parts of his member were too contaminated with soil and snow to be reattached, surgeons were able to save the bell end, not a medical term, and about 2 centimetres of shaft. He then underwent further mental treatment as he was still suffering pretty severe symptoms, but from the article, they've managed to stabilise him somewhat and he's in recovery. He's even apparently regained some erectile function. Isn't modern medicine amazing? One minute you're high as a kite watching the walls close in and playing Fruit Ninja with your gentleman's sausage. The next, a team of surgeons are saving what they can so at least you're not a eunuch. In the old days, you'd probably have died if you caught your meat in your zipper. What's this? Lara Crofts womb raider? According to globalnews.ca, a Chinese woman with 2 uteruses successfully gave birth to twins after becoming pregnant in both wombs. According to the article, the mother has a rare congenital abnormality called uterus didelphys, meaning her uterus is split into 2, with each chamber having its own fallopian tube and cervix. Pretty rare according to the Cleveland Clinic, with this condition only affecting 0.3% of the population, with the Xi'an People's Hospital where the children were born saying it's already extremely rare for twins to be conceived this way, and even rarer for them to be born alive. But sure enough, a boy and a girl were both born via caesarean about 8.5 months in, the boy weighing £7.19 and the girl £5.5. I realise my mind is firmly in the gutter, but my first thought was, I bet it's difficult to put the coil up that one. You'd have to have 2 sort of preloaded in that little anti-baby device they use. It'd be like cataract surgery on the lady garden. Yeah, they're great those Swiss Army knives. You can even use them for surgery. According to the BBC, a surgeon at a crisis-hit NHS trust used a Swiss Army knife to open up the chest of a patient because he claimed he could not find a sterile scalpel. University Hospital Sussex has said the operation was an emergency, but that the surgeon's actions were outside normal procedures and should not have been necessary. Did he not fancy chopsticks instead? Professor Graham Poston, a former surgeon and specialist in negligence cases, told the BBC, "It surprises me and appalls me. Firstly, a penknife is not sterile, obs. Secondly, it's not an operating instrument. And thirdly, all the kit must have been there. The patient survived, but internal documents showed that his colleagues thought his behaviour was questionable. And they were also pretty surprised that he couldn't find a sterile scalpel. Not only that, the Swiss Army knife that was used was the same one used by him to cut his fruit for his lunch. And the BBC has also discovered that the same surgeon carried out 3 supposedly low-risk operations in 2 months, where all 3 patients died soon after. If it was a genuine emergency where equipment was not available, then fair play for quick thinking. But if it wasn't and he just couldn't be asked to get a scalpel, or just really wanted to see what his penknife could do, that's abhorrent. That's as irresponsible as getting P. Diddy to look after your baby oil. Yeah, it was crap before, but now it's worth all that money, it's a masterpiece. According to The Guardian, Italian experts have claimed that a painting that was found by a junk dealer whilst he was clearing out the cellar of a home in Capri, and was regularly decreed by his wife as horrible, is an original portrait by Pablo Picasso. Yeah, it's definitely very unique. After coming across the painting in 1962, Luigi Lorusso then took the painting home, where it lived on the wall of his home in a cheap frame for several decades. The portrait is believed to be a distorted image of the Picasso's muse and mistress Dora Maar. It even has Picasso's signature on the top left. But Luigi didn't know who that was. Unfortunately, Luigi, the bloke who found it, is no longer around, and so this has all fallen on his son's now 60-year-old shoulders. And apparently, and I quote, "We were just a normal family, and the aim has always been to establish the truth. We're not interested in making money out of it." Right, let's see how normal of a family you are when you're swimming in Chateau Petrus and have gotten used to fresh oysters lathered on a bed of Eastern European girls. Money changes people, you know. I mean, I've been known to splash out on a Sainsbury's meal deal. The clue is in the name, love. Wildlife is supposed to be wild. According to the BBC, a court heard on Tuesday that a 58-year-old woman allegedly attacked members of the public as they attempted to free a seagull that she had captured in South Belfast. Angela Wildman is also accused of using a carton of milk and a long-handled mop as weapons after she put the bird into a sports bag. Angela denies the 3 counts of common assault, possessing an offensive weapon in public, disorderly behaviour and resisting arrest. Wait, was the offensive weapon a mop? But her defence solicitor, Damien Traynor, told the court that the public were drawn to her attention because she had managed to capture a baby seagull and was looking after it. He further said, "She explained to me that she feeds birds, takes birds home, and looks after wildlife. She keeps herself to herself, feeds her birds and cleans her house, does her shopping and comes and goes." Bird nutter. I'm not the biggest fan of seagulls, but surely capturing their babies is going to get you on the dump from the sky list for the rest of your life. Like ignoring the tax man or not giving your bit on the side enough cash to stay quiet. There's an order to things that need respecting. Wait, you want to go back? According to The Guardian, a North Korean defector living in South Korea has been detained after ramming a stolen bus into a barricade on a bridge near the heavily militarised border. This is apparently in a failed attempt to return to his isolated homeland. The bloke who fled the impoverished Korea in 2011 ignored soldiers' warnings to stop and attempted to drive through the Tongli Bridge, south of the demilitarised zone between the 2 Koreas. An investigator told France Press that he's living under difficult economic conditions as a construction worker, and he misses his family. Oh. But Plod are still considering charging the 30-year-old with theft and violating national security laws. I first thought, I don't get it. Why would you want to go back to the crap Korea when they have 100% more communism, famine and Kim Jong-un? But then I thought, some people still support Bolton, and even though they're terrible and cause immense heartache, they still buy a season ticket every year. Here are my honourable mentions. These are stories that just didn't quite make the cut. According to AP News, a man who was trying to cremate his dog may have started a wildfire. The gist is, the man's dog attacked another dog and was euthanised as per the court's wishes. But by the sounds of it, the cremation went a bit out of control when the man threw a can of spray on the funeral pyre. This then started a wildfire which damaged 11 square miles and $200,000 worth of property. I feel for him. He was just trying to honour his dog, but obviously he's ballsed it up big time. Next time though, maybe just do the old shovel and pit job. Good enough for Princess Diana. And my final honourable mention, according to The Guardian, Amazon are actually paying tax in the UK again. The supersized online retailer paid 18.7 million quid in the UK last period. This is, however, somewhat dwarfed by the £27 billion in sales it made in the same year. It's a start for sure, but until Jeff Bezos thinks twice about going to space again, because then he might not have enough cash to fuel his yacht, we're probably not taxing them enough. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you do so fancy. Also, if you think there's any news that we might have missed, please get in contact on the email in the description below. Please also check out our news sources down there in the description, because they basically run on ads and you need to look at the ads for them to get money. So have a think about buying a new car perhaps. See you next time for another jam-packed news you might have missed. Wow! Stay gravy!